Hi, I'm Rick Conlow. I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk today about 6 turnaround tactics for failing teams. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, I've had managers come to me and they say, Rick, my team's struggling. We're not reaching our goals. What can you do to help? I said, Rick, I've got a team and it's a big goal and we're not getting there and we're frustrated and disappointed. And, I don't know if I can make it. So we want to dig into that. But first, let me start off by saying this. Teamwork requires extraordinary unselfishness. Many times the reasons teams fail, and I'll comment on a few of these in a minute, is because there's selfishness ingrained in the team. And it doesn't help anybody win to achieve what they are capable of achieving. So here I have a list. I've done some extensive study on this. Why do teams fail? They fail because the leadership is partly the problem. They fail because the team members, in terms of not getting along. They fail because people have unclear expectations and roles, a lack of goals, poor processes. Their planning skills aren't very good. They have conflict on them. They haven't identified guidelines for working together. They're not trained to be team members. Poor communication, and oftentimes personality conflicts. So there are some issues. Usually teams fail because there's conflict within the team and there's poor performance. Obviously, you have certain objectives you need to reach. I came across the team that was trying to prove their service to customers. And I was asked to try to help them out. So I dig in to find out what's going on. They had no plan. They didn't have any procedures. They had no team training. They didn't have any measurements. And they were holding meetings and they were talking a lot, but they weren't getting anything done. That was the problem. Well, the good news is there's things you can do when the team is in trouble. Let's start off with the first one. I call it jump the gun. Now, what I mean by that is be aware that your team is in trouble. Admit it to yourself, and then think about what's going on. Maybe even write some things down about what's happening and what the issues are, and then what do you think, at least from your perspective, needs to be done to improve, and then go to your boss. Don't wait for your boss to come to you and say, hey, your team's in trouble. It's failing. When that happens, you're in bigger trouble. You have to take initiative to be able to recognize it. So don't wait and leave your success to chance. Do what I just described to you. Go to your boss, tell him, bring the issue, but bring solutions. That'll give you some time to rectify what's going on. Second thing, peer into the looking glass. What I mean by that is if you want your team to be better, you have to be better as a leader. So you need to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what can I do better as a leader? Have I fostered some of the problems? Am I dominating the meeting? Have I provided a planning process? Have I given them any training? Am I helping them with their goals? Do I have the right team members? Sometimes we need to switch team out. Am I favoring others over? We got to look at ourselves and take an inventory. What are you doing well? What isn't working so well? What you're doing? What are you going to commit to do better? And that takes some guts to do that. I'll say that. But it starts with you. Then, third thing, create a Mars plan, but do it now. So now remember, I said earlier, go to your boss with some of the issues and a potential problem. What I want you to do here now is get your team involved. Go to your team, tell them what you see, say, let's see what we can do to move forward. Look, your team's going to know they're failing. They're going to know you're not getting much done. They probably were thinking of that and wish the boss would do something about it. So you get them involved. Hold a retreat if you can. Ask them what they see the problems are. Make a brainstorm list of strengths and weaknesses, potential solutions, and get them involved and come to a consensus on what we're going to do. Create some goals, some action steps, put it in writing, come up with some measures. All those have to be pieces of a plan to help you win. That's what I mean in the Mars plan. Right now, countries are looking at the major powers. How are we going to get to Mars? That's the next place to go to. Do you know the detail they have to put in to make something like that to happen? And the years of effort that's going into that for preparation? And then, in workplaces, we go, hey, we got a problem. Let's put a team on it. Let's pick 5 minutes, boom, they get together, and then that happens. Got to have that Mars plan. That'll separate you, but include your team. It isn't just your ideas. You include them, and they'll be more committed to getting it done. I had a manager call me up. He said, Rick, my team's failing. We're not reaching our goals. I said, really? What's going on? He says, well, it's just the numbers are down, and, I've held a few meetings, tried to rally them up, nothing happened, and, I'm involved in new meetings. I got new software to learn. I've got, more responsibilities, and so I don't have time to spend with my people like I did, but they're not getting the results. And I said, well, Dick, if you don't have time to spend with your team, you don't have time to be a manager. He didn't particularly like me saying that. However, because we had a relationship from the past and done some things together, he was work with me. We put a plan together. Then we held a meeting with this team. He had about 25 people on the team. By the way, one of the things we did was change the meeting room around, so when they walked in, everything was different. You know how people come to the same places in meetings? Well, now they're going like, whoa, what's going on here? They didn't know where to sit. And Dick got up, said, this is a new day. We're going to do some planning. I helped facilitate a planning meeting. We broke them into small groups, got things in the wall, strengths, weaknesses, plans. What can we do better? And Dick owned part of the problem. And, long story short, we came out of that meeting with definitive plans. Boom! Almost instantly, progress in the team improved. It doesn't have to take that long if you engage the team. The fourth thing is you got to professionalize the team. What I mean by that, you got to keep learning. So in other words, give them some team training. What does teamwork look like? How do you deal with conflict? What's the responsibilities of a team member? Maybe they need to learn communication skills. What's our communication path going to be? That kind of thing. So get them involved. Maybe there's some technical elements they need to learn more about. Teach them that. And then you keep learning too as a leader. If you don't, that's not the example you need to set. So the training should be ongoing. If you don't have a budget for that, you can go online and YouTube and eZine and LinkedIn, and there's lots of resources available to be able to help you do that in a heartbeat. It doesn't have to take so long. And then number 5, do what most managers don't do. I call it the art and science of coaching. Most managers don't coach. You know what the number one reason why they don't coach? They say they don't have time. That's an excuse. They don't coach because they don't know how to, or they don't want to, or they don't think there's value to it. But there's 2 parts to the coaching. One is the art. The art is the relationship with the employees that you work with. Do you know them? Do you know their strengths and weaknesses? Do you understand what motivates them? Do you know a little bit about what they do outside of work, their hot buttons? Understanding them, building rapport. Do we give recognition? Are we focusing on what they do well as opposed to what they just don't do so well? Do I have rapport and trust with my team? We have to work at that. It just doesn't come naturally. We have to invest the time to do that. And then the other part is the science of coaching. That means we take regular time scheduled one-on-one with each team member, and we spend 30 to 45 minutes once a month, and we talk to them about their goals and their job and their expectations. And we get them through questions. We ask them things so that they can answer the questions and come up with solutions to what they can do better, or what their action plan is, or what their goals need to be. So we walk them through that process on a regular basis. So remember, there's 2 parts to it. It's the art, the relationship, and it's the science. It's the process of engaging them in a coaching session. If you're not sure how to do that, learn how to do it. It'll turn your team around. Most managers don't do this. It'll give you an edge. And then the 6th thing that we need to talk about is innovate and accentuate. What do I mean by innovate? Innovate is don't be afraid to do things differently. Change the pace. Don't always use the same meeting room, for example. Go outside the company and have a meeting. Bring in outside resources to help you out. Brainstorm and say, things are going well. What can we do to explode our results? That's what innovation is about. A little creative thinking in terms of what we're doing. And then accentuate is renew the team. Even the best teams have bad days. Few professional sports teams, men or women, win all the games. They lose sometimes. They don't perform as well sometimes. That's what a leader's job is to do, bring out the best in people. So we need to go over things. We need to reiterate expectations, and we need to renew the team then we need it. Pay attention to what they're doing and how they're communicating. It'll help you break through. See, one of the things that makes a bigger difference than anything is, do you care about your team? And I believe all superstar leaders care about their team. So let's say someone's having a problem at home and one of their children are sick. Well, you allow them a couple days off. Maybe they do a little work for home if they can, but you don't make a big deal of it. See what I'm talking about here? That's a leader's job. Well, let me just close with saying this, is that people have incredible potential, even teams that are struggling. Thomas Edison was told when he went to school that he was too stupid to learn anything. And we all know that Thomas Edison, he had over 1,000 patents, is one of the greatest minds the United States ever come up with, the inventor of the electric light bulb as well as motion pictures, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. It's a little known fact. People have the potential and they can get it done. A leader's success is defined by the success of his or her teams. Take these things to heart that I talked to you about. They come from our book, Superstar Leadership, and our Superstar Leadership Model. I have this dream that soars on golden wings. I visualize your achievements and your legacy that sings. I do not know all about your awesome goals or your persistent efforts to raise the bar. I only know you can be the best, a superstar. Thanks for coming.